Just last week, Fox 5 learned there were 4 inmates stabbed in 4 separate incidents. Inmate Kelvin Watts was stabbed multiple times last Wednesday and remains in the hospital.
All right, so YFN Shell Kel, one of YFN Lucci's homies, got stabbed multiple times last week while locked up inside of the Fulton County Jail. They said he was stabbed at least 10 times. Now, Shell Kel wasn't even in there serving any real time. He was just doing a short bid on a simple probation violation that he got a few months ago. It's nothing serious. It's really the type of thing that people should get through quick, right? They'll get processed and go home after they do a little bit of time. But instead, in Fulton County, we got things like this right here happening where Shell Kel was doing a short bid and got stabbed up and is now in the hospital fighting for his life. Now, the clip we watched at the beginning, you heard them mention him by his real name, Kelvin Watts. And as you can see in this photo right here, it's a serious situation. Bro is currently in the hospital. They got breathing tubes all in him. He's fighting for his life. And for those of you who don't know who he is, Shell Kel has been tied to the Atlanta rap scene for a while. And the whole YFN versus YSL beef that happened years ago, you know, them two have squashed it. Now, apparently, at least publicly, they've said that they've squashed it. But Shell Kel was a part of that entire thing. And you might have heard his name come up in the YSL trial. I remember cops taking the stand talking about they arrested him. He was bloodied up after a shootout. And there was even speculation that he was responsible for shooting at Young Thug one time, right? Y'all might have seen his interview on DJU TV where he got asked about it.
One base we haven't touched yet is Young Thug. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, he's the star of the opposing side to yourself. You know what I'm saying? And when we go back to the trial and hear Shell Kel name coming up, they say Shell Kel shot up Young Thug car and he had to pay for a window. And you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So my question regarding Young Thug is, when did you first meet Young Thug and what was your first impression of him?
I ain't never met him. I ain't never met Young Thug. And I ain't got no personal impression about him, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know him.
Okay, cool. So that was the situation in which you clapped at his car or no?
Now, Shell Kel obviously never confirmed that he's the one that shot at Young Thug's car. He just brushed it off, said that he didn't know Thug. But even him just being in that conversation kind of tells you the stuff that he has been involved in. Right back in like 2015, I think he was actually arrested for a body, right? And in that case, Atlanta police arrested him and another guy in connection with the shooting that left a woman driver of a car dead. Apparently, he had only been out of jail for 4 days when he was charged with that crime back in 2015. I don't really have any more information on that, but I said all that to say when news broke that, you know, he was stabbed in Fulton County Jail, it caught people's attention because he's somebody that's been right in the middle of the Atlanta drama for years. But him getting stabbed in jail while doing just a short stint in there really does expose a bigger problem in Fulton County, and that is the jail itself, right? The Fulton County Jail has been a disaster for a long time now. It's been overcrowded, dirty, violent, and straight up dilapidated, falling apart. It's people dying in this jail, people getting jumped in this jail, people getting stabbed every single month. And every time something like this happens, the county pretty much just says, oh, well, it's because the building is old and we need more staff. They've got all the excuses in the world, but Fulton County Jail is so bad that it has been under federal watch for years now, right? Back in July of 2023, the U.S. Department of Justice's Civil Rights Division announced that it had opened a federal investigation into the conditions at the Fulton County Jail. It's so bad inside of this county jail that the news of Shell Kel being stabbed actually wasn't even a news clip about him being stabbed. Instead, it was about how 4 different inmates were stabbed within 48 hours of each other, right? Y'all take a look at this.
We are beyond an emergency situation, and we've been saying that from day one.
Fulton County Sheriff Patrick Labatt says he has sounded the alarm about the dilapidated conditions at the Fulton County Jail for years. But the majority of the Fulton County commissioners, he says, are not listening. Just last week, Fox 5 learned there were 4 inmates stabbed in 4 separate incidents. Inmate Kelvin Watts was stabbed multiple times last Wednesday and remains in the hospital. Here's what the sheriff told us the same day Watts was stabbed.
We need immediate relief. I've said that since 1/1/21 when I took office, said that at the beginning of my second term, and I will continue to say that. We need action now.
In July of last year, the sheriff seemed to have explained exactly what the problem is when he gave reporters a tour of the Rice Street facility.
The building is being weaponized. And so to that extent, that is why I have been steadfast about the need for a replacement facility.
The Fulton County commissioners did not agree and voted for a $1.2 billion solution of building a new mental health facility and renovating the Rice Street jail. The sheriff tells me the commissioner's solution is short-sighted and will take too long.
Do you all ask these questions, or do you even care?
His critics say the problem is a jail management issue, but at least one Atlanta City councilman said at Monday afternoon's council meeting he agrees with the sheriff.
It is wrong for Fulton County not to build a new jail.
So you heard what he said. It is beyond an emergency inside of the jail. And just think about that. The sheriff himself, which is the man who is running the place, basically said his jail is a full-blown disaster. And yet they are still putting people in it every single day. When the sheriff has to publicly admit that his jail is collapsing, that means that it's already too far gone. This place has been on the news nonstop for its stabbings, deaths, mold, broken locks, everything you can imagine that could be wrong with the jail is wrong with this jail. They've had reports of inmates having to sleep on the floor because they don't have enough beds for everybody. And even after the feds stepped in earlier this year, after the DOJ said that they were going to monitor the jail, this is still happening. You got 4 inmates stabbed in 48 hours, one of them being a known figure like Shell Kell. And the crazy part is they act like it's business as usual. You heard the sheriff say that the city council basically won't even listen to him when he says that he needs help with this problem. Even though the violence is so out of control that even the officers in the building aren't safe anymore. Just 2 weeks ago, there were reports about a detention officer being stabbed by an inmate.
Want to refocus your attention here locally because there's more drama playing out at the Fulton County Jail. This time it involves a detention officer who was in the hospital this afternoon after being stabbed apparently by an inmate.
This stabbing apparently happened here at the Rice Street facility around 8 o'clock this morning. I have talked to 2 independent sources who tell me that the stabbing was done by an inmate using a shank.
You see what I'm saying? It's not just inmates that are getting stabbed. It's the COs too. That's how bad this place is. It's chaos from top to bottom. And yeah, I know somebody is going to be in the comments saying, well, don't do the crime if you can't do the time. But that logically just doesn't really hit here because this isn't a prison. This is a county jail. Half the people in the county jail ain't even been convicted of anything yet. Some of them are there because they just can't afford the bond that they were given. Some are waiting on a court date that keeps getting pushed back. And yeah, a lot of them are real criminals, but let's be honest, there are likely some people stuck in there that are completely innocent or that are in there over mistake, right? And a good example of that is I remember I went to jail one time over something that was just clearly a clerical error, right? Before I got full custody of my daughter, I was fighting for custody. And during that period, I had to pay child support. I believe that I missed like 2 payments one time and they put out what's called a body attachment on me where it was like, if you come in contact with this person, arrest them for this owed child support. Now, when I found out about this, I went to the child support office. I paid the child support that I owed, and then they forgot to clear the body attachment. So like 2 months later, I came in contact with the police officer and they arrested me over this child support that I had already paid. I literally had the receipt in my pocket and showed it to the cop, and it still didn't matter. My ass went to jail even though I was technically innocent, and I had to sit there until till I could come up with the money for the bond. I ain't have to sit there alone, but at the end of the day, I was in there because of a clerical error. Now, luckily, the jail in the city that I'm at, it really ain't that bad. But imagine something like that happens and you have to go sit in Fulton County Jail, where the conditions are absolutely terrible. In fact, Fox 5 did a walkthrough of this jail back years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. So keep that in mind when we watch this. This is 2 or 3 years ago. It's probably much worse now than it was then. But they did a walkthrough where you can really see with your own eyes how bad this jail is.
As Fox 5's Morse Diggs reports, the spotlight has been on the jail since the death of a prisoner whose body was covered with bugs.
On top of the Fulton jail being way overcrowded, there are sections like this one here that they can't use or shouldn't use, and yet they had been used and part of the deplorable conditions. An inmate complains he needs to get out of the county jail to go see a judge. The sheriff, Pat Labatt, allowed the public to see inside.
Every inmate, every detainee, and every cell.
Labatt says he will look at every floor and talk to the inmates. Some continue to be curled up in doggy-style plastic trays due to overcrowding, and conditions made even worse because some of the jail sections cannot be used.
There's actually a leak behind the wall.
We saw cell doors off hinges, water from leaks, and other things we will not put on this broadcast. One inmate told Labatt he's not been able to shower since Saturday.
I came up here Saturday, we have our intake. We took a shower when we were coming up for intake. That was it.
The highly publicized death of one inmate who sustained bug bites had been housed on a different medical floor. But that death put the Fulco jail and the sheriff in the spotlight.
We have been, telling people we need this kind of help. We're in crisis.
Labatt told me he believes the rank and file were afraid to go over their bosses' heads to let him know how bad things had gotten. Now, he successfully persuaded Atlanta Mayor Dickens to allow him to use the downtown city jail for extra beds. But here's the problem. He has to move already short manpower from Rice Street to supervise transferred prisoners. Are you restricted somewhat because you're already on a manpower crunch here, so you can only do it in a phase?
So what we've done is, and yes, we do it in phases because of manpower.
And the sheriff wants to make it clear he's not asking for a fancy new jail. He calls what's needed a replacement jail. You've seen these conditions here today. It explains why.
And so that's the building that YFN Shell Kell was sitting in when he got stabbed. You look at this walkthrough, the rusted doors, the metal hanging off of things, the busted locks, and you start to realize how this even happened in the first place. How a guy serving a short jail sentence for a probation violation ends up in the hospital fighting for his life. Because with the jail this dilapidated, people can make shanks out of literally anything. All they need is something that they can file down on the concrete with a pointed edge, right? So Shell Kell being stabbed 10 times isn't just bad luck. It's a product of this system that's been falling apart for years. The sheriff has been sounding the alarm. The feds have stepped in and they got a monitor that comes every now and then to check how the jail is doing, to report back to the federal government. And the county just keeps dragging its feet on a solution. Meanwhile, people are dying, guards are getting stabbed, and nobody is really safe in the facility. And people online love to say, well, that's what you get for doing crime. But bro, this isn't really about that. Shell Kell being stabbed just exposed a bigger issue within the Fulton County Jail. And I know that there's jails all over the country that are like this. It's not just Fulton County. There's a bunch of jails just like this, but it is a problem, a real problem. County jail is not supposed to be a death sentence. Half the people in there haven't even seen a judge yet. And when you have a system where even the officers and the people who run it aren't safe, what do you think happens to the inmates that don't got badges, don't got backup, don't got protection, right? They end up like Shell Kell. He wasn't in there for years. He was in there for a very short stint, and in a place that is literally crumbling. That's all it took. Now, did Shell Kell have beef with whoever did this to him? Probably. I don't know. I'm sure there's more to that story. He may have had some bad history, some karma catching up, something like that went on, but it's still a product of where he was at. But anyways, man, that's what I got. That's the video. Y'all gotta let me know what y'all think about all this in the comments down below. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, tap the notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a video. And as always, it's been fun rocking with y'all, man. I'm out.